Now that we've created our sheet set, we can focus on automatically populating all of these different fields around the sheet. So that way you don't have to do it manually. So the first thing we can look at is properties in the sheet set. So if you go up to your top project sheet set and go to properties, you can see all of the available fields you have that are, I guess, universal in a sense to the whole sheet set. Notice that you can also create custom properties that you want, and those can be owned by the sheet set or a sheet. So that's not something we're gonna be dealing with here, but just know that you can do that. Another thing you can do is go to properties of individual sheets, and you can see a similar sort of fields here, but right now we're just gonna focus on renaming and renumbering these. So these are the most common fields you'll use for sheets is the name and the number, and you've looked at a couple of sheet sets by now for homeworks or in class, so you might be a little bit familiar with how these can be named. Ultimately, they're up to you and how you choose to name and number them, but there are sort of standard conventions that civil engineers follow. I'm just going to start out by naming this C100, and I'm going to call this existing O Hill area. And so this is the existing conditions, or I can maybe say that, existing conditions of O Hill area. You can call it whatever you'd like. One of the nice things about these is you can change them whenever you want, and when you go to actually plot your plan set, all of these will update automatically. I'll click next and go to my next sheet. I'll call this C101, and I will call this similar, so existing conditions survey area. And so now these are renamed. We want these to actually populate on the sheet though automatically, and we can do those through something called a field. So you can see on the left side actually an example of some fields where we never put this here, but it automatically takes the name of your file and inserts it here. Now, something that's a little strange, at least for me, it might not be the case for you, when I go to plot a sheet like this, these fields on the very left don't actually show up. So I'm going to ignore those for now. If yours show up, then you're welcome to play around with them. But instead, I'm just going to focus on all of the fields right here. So all of these fields are actually grouped together in something called a block. And you can see if you hover over it, it's called a block reference. But I'm just going to double click into this, and you can see all of the different attributes or fields that this block has. So, and we can see how those are mirrored here. Now, the first thing I know is I don't really need 3 lines of a project address. So I'm going to go ahead and click here and just remove the value, and I'll do it again here, and I will do it again here. And here we can actually put in a project address if we wanted to, but for now I'm just going to leave that blank, but you're welcome to put one in. Next, I'm going to go up to this project name. This is associated with this field right here. I know that it's not going to say the project name. It's actually going to turn into the sheet name. And I can show you how to do that here in a second. Looking at some of the other fields, we have a different area for the project name that's right here, the date, scale, and the sheet number. So the sheet number is the first field that we're going to edit. And you can see if it's a gray icon like this, where there's gray background, it's a field. You can also right click here and insert a different field, but right now I'm just going to click into this and we can see all the different fields that exist. There's a bunch of categories for fields, but right now I'm going to look at the sheet set. And there are 2 things to note here. You can have fields that are from the current sheet, and you can have fields that are from the current sheet set. So those current sheet set fields are the ones that are more universal, like the project name, whereas current sheet has everything unique to a sheet. So I'm actually just going to go back here to current sheet number. That's exactly what I want to populate here. And it's going to populate either the way you have it, or you can force it to look a certain way if you want it to. For example, uppercase if you don't put it in as uppercase. I'm going to click OK, and you can see what that will look like. I'm okay with scale being as noted, but if you wanted to actually put in the scale, you could do that. The date, I'm just going to check this field attribute, and it looks like it's just going to take whatever today's date is when you plot it and put it in there, which is exactly what I want it to do. But you can set how you want it to show. I like the way it looks right here, although I might use this one because I like that it has the leading zeros. So I'll just change that as this one. You can see it there. Although I guess this is showing up as day, month, year, which I don't like as much. So I don't know why it's doing that, but I can just go back in and change that here. I can do month, day, year. Oh, I don't think I like that. I guess that's not a format that exists, but if you wanted to create it yourself, you definitely could in custom formats. I'm just going to choose one of the ones that exist. So maybe I'll keep it as default and just click OK. For project name, this is where I want it to put the actual project name. So I'll, instead of just doing value, I'm going to come and find the sheet set project name, and I'm going to do it as title case. So it's just going to ensure that the first letter of every word is capitalized. Click OK. You can see that doesn't fit super well here, but that is okay. I can shorten my project name or change the text options if I want to, for example, the height or the width factor. Maybe I can try to scale that down a little bit. And you can see that fits better. Next, I said I'm going to mostly ignore these address fields, but for the project name, this is where I want to put in the sheet name. So I'm going to click on this and go to the current sheet and find what I like here. So current sheet title is right here. That looks good to me. I could either have it be all capital title case. I'm going to try title case and see what that looks like. So again, kind of wrapping over. So let's see what I can do for that here. I think here I can do the same thing where I just decrease the width factor. That's a little strange. 0.9. And I can also increase the text height if I wanted to. So maybe 0.2. Oh, that's really big. I'll shrink it down again. And that looks good to me. So play around with this. These attributes are really cool. And one of the nice things about this is we're going to make our subsequent files by copying these files. So when you copy them, all of these will already be formatted correctly. But you can change them as you see fit. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit just so it fits a little bit nicer. And I'm just going to hit apply and OK. And you can see all of the fields are kind of updated. So I did that for the existing Ohill area, and I'm going to have to do it again for this one here. It doesn't update automatically, but once I do that here, since we're just copying these two files, it'll stay the way we want it to, which is really cool. So go through and do the same thing that you did there. Okay, now you can see I have finished going through and I updated this block as well. Now for like deliverable 4, for example, we're just going to copy this file right here. And so as we copy it, all of these will already be in place, but it's going to pull from the new sheets we create and all of the new naming convention, which is really cool. So do that. And then once you do that, what you're going to do is come up here and click publish to PDF. And here you can choose where to save this. This is what you're going to submit as part of your deliverable 3 submission. So I'm just going to go into here, my sheet set folder, and I'm just going to call this deliverable 3 submission since this is not our full plan set. I'm going to click OK, and it's just going to print that in the background. It shows it right here. It actually works really, really fast. And I actually made a mistake here, which is going to be really helpful for you guys to see. So it's going to make the sheet, and when it's done, I'll show you what it looks like here as it makes it. So now I can go into where that file is and show you what it looks like. And you'll notice that when I click on it, there's only one page here. Now, you can also see that all of the fields are there correctly, which is really good. That's great. Except the date. Date is, I think, the creation date of the file and not the publishing date. I'm okay with that though. And there's only one sheet here. So what did I do wrong? Well, what I did wrong is when I went and I clicked publish, I had just one sheet highlighted. To publish all of my sheets, I should click, on the full project and then publish it to PDF. And when I do this, then you're going to see it have everything we need. I'll do this and save it here. I got the same name. And now that it's done, I can come back in here, just refresh and open it up. And now we can see that there are actually two sheets, which is exactly what there should be. There should be two sheets, and you can check their names, and they all look good to me. So do that, and for this deliverable, submit your two sheets as a sheet set with all of these fields filled out, and also submit your design concept.